Welcome to a new episode of my Linux driver tutorials. And as you can see here, we're going to access some hardware again today in this video. So today I want to show you how you can use GPIOs in a device tree device driver in Linux. So let's go. But the first thing we need before implementing a driver is we have to talk a little bit about connections. So how I've connected the LED and the button here to my Raspberry Pi. And basically I'm just reproducing the setting from lection 3 of this tutorials. So here basically you can see the setup. We have an LED wired to GPIO 21 and we have a button wired to GPIO 20. We have a pull down resistor here for the button, and here we are applying 3.3 volts to the button, and of course we have to connect the LED over a resistor to ground again. And that's the basic setup I have here. But what is the difference from this driver here? Well, in this driver we hard-coded the numbers of the GPIOs here in this driver, but in today's video I want to pass this information, so how the GPIOs are connected, to my device tree overlay. Okay, so back here on my Raspberry Pi, I'm in my Linux driver tutorials folder, and as a template for today's video I want to use lection 16, which is the Hello World device tree device driver, and I will create a new lection I will call device tree device GPIOs. Okay, so let's check what we have in here. We have a C source file for our driver, we have our device tree overlay file, we have a make file to build both the driver and the device tree overlay, and we have a readme giving you some more information if you're viewing this on GitHub. So the first thing I need to do is I need to adapt the device tree overlay. So let's open this up. So in this device tree overlay, we are adding the device, my device, to the root path of our device tree. And I will delete these two custom properties and create two new properties here describing our LEDs. So if you want to use a GPIO in a device tree overlay, one important thing is to mention here, you always have to use the -GPIO suffix to the name you're giving it. So here we have LED -GPIO. This -GPIO indicates, okay, this here is a GPIO. And now we have to set up this here. So first we have to give it the parent node of the GPIO controller to from which we want to use a GPIO, and this is an GPIO. I will explain you why I'm using this name here just in a second. Then I have to give it the number of the GPIO. For the LED it's 21. And then I have to say if I want to have an active high or active low GPIO. And 0 stands for GPIO is active high, so we don't have an inverse logic. And for the button I can do the same. The only difference is here I'm giving it the name button GPIO, and the pin here is GPIO 20. And the big advantage of declaring or using using GPIOs here in the device tree overlay or in a device tree device is when we want to add a second device, I can just copy this device here, give it a different name, my device 2 for example, and then all I have to do is I have to change the numbers of the GPIOs here, but the rest in the driver is completely the same, so we're getting some way of hardware abstraction here. Okay, but here in my example it's enough to have one device. And another thing which I won't talk today is, normally if you have a GPIO controller you also have a pin controller, which allows you to connect multiple functions to a single GPIO pin, or to select from multiple functions which is getting connected to the GPIO pin, so you can use it as a normal GPIO, as an SPI, as an I2C, and so on and so forth. But with this pin controller I will do a separate video, I won't cover it today. And on the Raspberry Pi we are lucky because by default all pins are configured for GPIO operation. Okay, so the last thing remaining is how did I get this node name GPIO? And I can show you this when we're taking a look at our GPIO chip files. Okay, we see we have two available and mine is connected to GPIO chip 0. And now I need to find out the device tree label of this, and I can find this in proc device tree soc GPIO Here we have the physical address of the GPIO IP, and when I'm searching the name of this GPIO node, I see the name is GPIO. Okay. What I could also do is, if I'm using the device tree compiler, input file system, output DTS. Okay, let's do it this way. Proc device tree, and our output file should be temp dts.dts. And if I'm taking a look at this and search for GPIO, here we have our GPIO controller, and we see the device node name is just GPIO. So this is where I have this name from. Okay, so now we have implemented the device tree overlay. Now we need to implement our device driver. So let's open up the mydevdriver.c source file. First, I will do a little bit of clearing here to make it a little bit easier, or less code. Okay, and the first thing I have to do then is I have to include linux/gpio/consumer.h. If you remember my third video of this series of tutorials, here we have used the same headers, and basically we will also use the same functions as we did in my third lecture here. So here we're also using GPIO consumer.h, and these functions here, okay, not these, but GPIO set value and GPIO get value, we will need later in the driver as well. Okay, so here in the probe function, the first thing I will do is I will declare a pointer from the type struct device, and this points to the device field of this platform device here, because I will need this device pointer when reading from the device tree. Okay, and then I will also declare two global variables here, just for simplicity, and these variables are from the type GPIO descriptor, and these are pointers, one for my LED and one for my button. Okay, I know using global variables it's not so cool, but for this simple driver it's okay. In a later video I will show you a better way of doing this, maybe even in the next video. Okay, and now I want to get my LED. Therefore I will call the function GPIOD get. The first argument is the device from which I want to read in this GPIO. Then I have to give it the label, which is LED here, so I don't have to type LED minus GPIO. No, when I'm calling this function, it automatically search for a property in the device with this suffix minus GPIO. And the last argument is how I want to configure this GPIO, and here I want to use GPIOD out low for a normal output basically. And maybe I will also add a status variable here. And here I will call the macro isError to check if this pointer here is an error pointer, because if so, an error occurred, maybe because the node is not present. And then I will print out an error message here. Could not read in lead GPIO property. Okay, and then I will return the status code here. Good, but if we have succeed here, we could successfully read in this LED GPIO property and configure this GPIO for an output. So now the next thing we have to do is we have to do the same for the button. And this is very easy. So the label now is button. And now we want to have an input instead of an output. And of course we want to save this in our button pointer for a GPIO descriptor. Okay, but here I will not return to status. Instead I will go to free LED. And here I will have here this mark here, GPIOD put. So basically here I'm freeing the LED which was already configured successfully, and then I will return the status code here. Okay, but after coming here we basically have successfully configured the LED for a GPIO output operation and the button for GPIO input configuration. So the next thing I will do is I will set the value of the LED to 1. Therefore I can use the function GPIOD set value, which needs a pointer to the descriptor and the value to which I want to set the GPIO. And then let's read in the button. Therefore I can use GPIO get value, and all I have to pass here is the pointer to our GPIO descriptor, which is button in this case. And then let's print some information out here. Button is pressed. So in case if this is 1, then I want to print out the button is pressed, and in case this is 0, I want to print out button is not pressed. Okay. And down here in the remove function, all I will do is I will call GPIOD set value again to turn the LED off, and then I have to call GPIOD put to free the LED and the button. Okay, this should be our driver. Now let's try to compile it and let's see if it's working. Okay, the driver is compiled, the device tree overlay is compiled. We can now test it, and of course I will switch back on the camera here. So let me spawn tmux to have a second window to follow our kernels log. And here let's load our device tree overlay. So, oh yeah, of course the wrong ending. Good, the overlay is applied, and now I can load the driver. Please notice I have not pressed the button. And now I get the message button is not pressed, and you can see the LED is on. If I am removing the driver again, the LED will be turned off again. And now I'm loading the module and I'm pressing the button. And now we're getting the message button is pressed. Yeah, pretty cool. So that's how to basically to control GPIOs from within a device tree device driver. I hope you've enjoyed the video and learned something. In case you want to support my work, you can buy my coffee on buymeacoffee.com. So /Jonas for Linux. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching and goodbye.